What do you want to talk about, lads? What questions have you got for us? Who's kicking us off?
Shall I kick it?
There you go. Go for it now.
You go, Miles, if you want to go. Yeah, well,
I'm easy to kill.
Stuff done before I get down a bit.
Oh, never a true word, question mark. Hi Al. First one, I suppose, relates to last week.
Yeah.
Now, I had to go out Friday night. I watched the first half. I looked at the score on Saturday morning and I nearly fell off my chair. I could not believe how you'd lost it from how it looked, how it felt. Now, is that... Obviously, it made you angry on the night. I saw your post-match interview and the follow-up. But, how's it all settled down at the club this week in view of what was just not you in the second half?
Yeah, looking back at the game and watching it again on Saturday morning and still trying to put a finger on how it slipped through our fingers in the last 25 minutes. Because for 55, we were, as you witnessed, we were largely dominant, and all the stats that come back, the KPIs that we run on the game, indicated that it was a game that we should have won. The game it left us with a feeling that we lost those scraps, as I said, in the second half, which we did in the last 25 minutes, and some collisions around the ruck, and that's how we lost the game, because that's what you witnessed, and it's freshest on the memory. But looking back at it, we should have capitalised more on the dominance that you witnessed in the first half. We should have scored more tries. We left 2 or 3 more tries out there, which ultimately kept them. We end up scoring maybe 3 points on advantage, where with a bit more composure we would have come away with 7, and that just takes the game away from them. We just honestly reflected on it. I watched it back on Saturday. I'd Saturday to try and get over it, because you do have to emotionally. And Time's a great healer. Spoke to the lads, as in the players and all the coaches, a couple of times over the weekend, and we were quite aligned on Monday, having all of us watched it back, about how we're able to take advantage of some of the dominance, have a bit more composure in opposition 22, and in doing so. And like I say, it wouldn't have even come to the fact that they were close enough to edge us out, 5 minutes from the end. And that's us. But, credit to Exeter of finding a way back in, of staying close, of showing the resilience that they did, which they've done kind of week in, week out. They've been 3 years on the rebuild, and I think at this point they've been pretty happy with how they've done that.
Yeah. The many things taking into this week's game, the central core elements to any Champions Cup tie. There are lots of things in that mix, but one of them is when you're on top, when you're in the opposition 22, or even within range of that, you've got to make those moments count against the top teams, haven't you? I mean, England were very good at it in the autumn with George. They made sure they left with something, and that's critical, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that was his mentality as well. We were getting down there at the weekend, and perhaps we were bombing the tries that we should have scored. And he's like, well, we're going to come away with something in 3 points, and it kept it ticking over. But you're looking back at it, it's like, well, with hindsight, everyone's a genius. Should we have gone for corner? Should we have a bit more composure? Yeah, coming back to this weekend, the importance of taking opportunities against the best teams, because you get fewer of them. You get fewer of them against better teams. The importance, the necessity to take the points when you get the opportunity, all important. And then your mistakes that you make get punished far more severely. And we saw that as well. So there's, learns from that. We only gave 5 penalties away, but 2 of them in the second half gave them the field position for their tries. So out of 5 penalties, 2 of them cost us dearly. So there's learns kind of both sides of the ball there. Miles.
Yeah. One more from me on the specifics of team news, I suppose, or squad news this week. Where are you at going into this one?
Ben Curry's back, Will Griff-John's back, Aaron Reid's back, all of whom are up for selection. Fordy's still got that niggle from last week, and he's due a rest out the next 3. And we're not sure how long that'll take to clear up, but we're hoping, he's a quick healer and he's on top of all of his kind of recovery and rehab stuff, so I'm sure it'll be, won't be too long a time. Who else? Luke's a question mark over the next 2 weeks. Luke Cowan-Dickey, just which one of those 3 weeks we rest him. And that's something that all the England players who have played all those games by way of mandatory rest. And Asher's out for 6 weeks. Asher's, on that first scrum, hyperextended his elbow.
Okay, so that's 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. And obviously Tom's situation is well documented.
Flying. Yeah, Tom Curry is the revelation. Tom Curry's on great form. Like, he's got his brother back this week as well, so a bit of a boost for him.
Yeah.
That's his first 80 for a while, Miles, you know what I mean? And just come in, bouncing, chipper, felt good. Just really good signs.
Yeah. Well, go well.
Thank you.
See you on the weekend.
Cheers, pal.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Hey, Al. So just while we're on the subject of Tom, it seems like there might be some sort of disciplinary thing hanging over him. Have the club received any more information about where that stands?
No, it's got to be within 48 hours. That's my understanding, and no news is good news on that front.
But as far as I understand it, it's not a sighting. It's not for the tackle on the fullback. It would be for what happened in the tunnel.
Oh, I've not heard a thing, mate, still.
But you haven't heard anything?
Not a thing.
And how's he just coped over you said he's been bouncing like himself, as he'd been able to sort of compartmentalise everything that sort of happened over the last week or so?
Yeah, like I say, we haven't given it any airtime. It was a very brief conversation, not to give it any airtime and just to crack on. And he's a little bit out of the goldfish bowl that is the international scene, isn't he? Coming back to Sale and back into the Premier now, into the Champions Cup. I don't follow social media, but seemingly like there's been no waves since. Okay.
And just to clarify, you said Asher's out for 6 weeks?
Yeah.
Was that right?
Yeah.
And what's that with?
A tear in one of his bicep tendons through hyperextending his elbow on his left arm and his left bind in the scrum, that first scrum.
Weak form arguably suffered as a result. Do you think any clubs, including yourself, have the depth to go after both competitions really hard?
Oh, yeah, if you've got a full squad going into it, I've just listed some of the injuries that we've got. It's going to make it increasingly difficult to compete. Clearly they are. Clearly they have. I think you'd say with the injury record, likes of Bristol, maybe not at this point. They've got a big injury list, and to a degree, so have we. With the likes of Carps and Bev, Buck. The mandatory rest of the England players within this 3-week block, both of which kind of probably fall within the European Cup weeks. Asher, and then you're talking 6 or 7 of your best players that would have to rest one of the 2 weeks or be forced to rest through injury, and then you're into your second team, and that makes it a tougher challenge, but not one that I'm less excited by, one that I'm weirdly more enthused by, Danny, because you get to test your mettle and your depth of your squad against the very best. You get to see where you're at against the best teams at a higher intensity and all the best players, because they rest their players for this cup. They rested them all last week. So Glasgow coming in fresh with all their Scottish internationals, and they're coming to our ground, and like we played them last year, and got a little bit bullied, if I'm honest, going up there. So like all of that, just I'm excited and relished by the fact that we get to welcome him to the core pack on Friday. I don't know if to answer your question, like it is what it is. That's a terrible answer, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is what it is. We can only spend a certain amount on the salary cap. It's been like that for years, and all the English clubs have had a deficit, or at least been handicapped by that cap against all the European clubs for years. So it's just something that we've been used to having to cope with and deal with.
How do you go about stopping the Curry brothers from bashing the hell out of each other in training when one's due back and is probably frustrated that he hasn't played for a little while?
Just put them on the same side, Neil. It's easier, isn't it?
Yeah, but they can still bash the hell out of each other, can't you? You saw what happened in the football last week.
Yeah, hey, Ben's been like a ball of energy coming back in this week. It's great to see, because he's been literally hamstrung by this tendon injury that he's had, and now he's free. Like, he's just going at it like a dog with a new ball, new slipper. So it's been really, really good to witness that. Try not to let them bang each other about too much in the week, Neil, because we've got to save it for Glasgow at the weekend. We don't do a lot of live stuff.
Yeah, but it must be quite unique having a puppy around the training ground.
Yeah, giant-sized.
How much have you missed Ben Curry over the past few weeks? Can you just put it into words?
He was our captain, wasn't he? Captain for a couple of years, and he's enhanced EPS, so clearly he's one of the best back rows in the country. There's a leader there, there's a player there, and like I say, there's energy that he brings hugely. We've missed him massively. Not to say that the lads who have stepped in and stepped up haven't done themselves, justice for how they've performed, but Ben's a special player. He's a real special player, so having him back and looking forward to the next 3 or 4 games, and he's another one that, coming back to you, Daniel, like, he hasn't played. Like, he doesn't need rest. Like, he needs to play. Same with Dan Dupree, as an example, hasn't played a lot. Jacques Vermeulen got injured. He hasn't played a lot. So all of these things, like, go into your planning as to what kind of squads look like from now up until, realistically, the 2nd of January when we play Bristol.
Just one thing, you have too many more results like last week. Do you have to avoid the owner for a couple of days afterwards?
I've got a really close relationship. I called him up. He called me and said, "You fancy a beer?" This is on Saturday morning, and I couldn't. I was on a lads and dads night, me and my 9-year-old kid. My missus was out, so I rang him up and we had 45 minutes on the phone together. We emotionally go through the same journey. Like, we're both very, very much invested. My time and his money, but also our feelings. So I find it cathartic, actually, to give him a call. Got a text off Michelle the day after. So spoke to Si on Saturday, text off Michelle the day after, and she's like, "How you doing?" So we lean on each other in terms of getting over and getting through these games, and so that's something I think that's actually helpful. In other scenarios, yeah, you maybe want to avoid them, but you got to face up to, haven't you? 2 results by 1 point, and these things have a habit of reversing. Like, you lose and win as many as these games in the course of a season, they even themselves out.
The signing of Joe Marchant, does that help you with recruitment, that people think, Christ almighty, Joe Marchant's gone there, so they must be on the up?
Well, I've come back to the point I made last week, and probably my over robust statements of we want to sign world-class players and all that, and putting it out there early. Like, I think there's something in that I wanted, that people need to know we're serious, and with Joe signing, it shows that we're serious, and that good players, if there wasn't enough evidence of the lads who were staying, believe that we have the infrastructure and the team to go and win things. So that's just it's another string to our bow with Joe coming in. It adds to the momentum, certainly. I can't read the minds of men from the other side. I don't know what they're thinking. But yeah, the stronger the squad, the more the outsiders and people who may be on the line of deciding whether to or not hopefully it tips them towards ourselves.
Oh, mate. Yeah, well, I can see that Nick Simon was actually falling asleep, so I'll let him have a go.
That's me, that.
Wake
I
him
have
up a
that
bit.
habit, the dulcet tones.
Brilliant. Cheers, mate. Go well.
Your Tinder line woke me up, Fizzler. On Marchand, is there any way that he could play for England before he comes over because of the the sort of exceptional circumstance thing? Could you see him featuring for England before he moves to the Prem?
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know how it works. I've got to catch up with Steve Borthwick. I think is there an exceptional? I don't know what that. I don't think there is. I think he's got to be here and got to be committed to staying here to warrant a selection spot.
Yeah. Because I think they'd fiddled it before with like Brad Shields or something. He just ended up playing for England before he'd actually joined the club because he'd signed a contract.
That was Eddie era though, wasn't it? That was Eddie's era. Steve Borthwick's far more of a straight edge than what Eddie is.
So just back to what Sco was asking earlier on like the Champions Cup and the depth thing. Do you think we'll see more mismatched fixtures because of the squad depth and things like that?
I think that's been the case again. Like these are similar questions and quite obvious kind of predictions and guesstimations. Like it happened last year. I think Bordeaux won by 80 odd points or something last year, and Toulouse went to Leicester and stuffed them, and then Leicester stuffed the Sharks. Like it happens in the competition for sure on those away trips, specifically.
Do you see a solution to that? Do you see how that can be fixed? Is there a structural change that could be done or something? Not
unless the season finishes in mid-August. You know what I mean? And we can stretch it out, and they get those rest weeks within the running order of the season. At present, if you want to run 3 competitions, which they do, plus two international series, there's no way around it.